set wildly, right? It's called statistical variance. And so that's what I have a problem with. And that's really a problem with the system more than the rankings itself. When you get to the actual rankings and what we see in the top 25, and in particular in the top 4, there's a huge discrepancy in my mind between Clemson and Oklahoma. Oklahoma should absolutely be in the top 4. There's no doubt in my mind because they've got 2 better wins than Clemson, both on the road, both against top 25 teams at Ohio State, at Oklahoma State last week. They've got the Heisman Trophy front runner, and they're averaging 8.5 yards per play. There hasn't been an offense in college football average 8.5 yards per play since 2006 when Hawaii did it with Colt Brennan. That was the only team in the Power 5, or excuse me, Oklahoma's the only one in the But Clemson's not better than Oklahoma.
Where's Skip?
Thank you for saying that. This is by far the best offense in college football.
Oh, yeah.
Is my Oklahoma Center. I was born an Oklahoma fan, so I can't help myself. But I also can't defend the defense. I just can't defend it. They have one guy who can really
Well, they
play.
can't defend either.
They can't defend it. Well, that's what I'm saying. But Okoronkwo can rush the passer.
Yeah.
But I think he weighs like 235. You know, he's just one of those stand-up rushers that's hard to block on the college level. I'm not sure he's going to take over any NFL games, but that's about it. And yet, I know the NCAA isn't supposed to be about marquee value and ratings, but hey, if you want a team people will watch in the Final Four, this team belongs in the Final Four. Because I watch Clemson, I'm bored by this year's Clemson because Deshaun's no longer there. And they mostly run it more than Deshaun was wildly exciting to me to watch. So I agree with you, but they still have to, Oklahoma has to beat TCU maybe twice before this is over.
That's right.
And they got to deal with West Virginia, which isn't a cakewalk because they can get hot. The quarterback can get hot. And yet, if they win those 3 and he's the Heisman Trophy winner, I want to see them in the Final Four. That's just me.
Yeah.
Well, what they're really praying for is for Notre Dame to beat Miami because they want Notre Dame in that college play. They want them in that Final Four.
That's fine. And they will. They will beat Miami.
But I find that very unfair because you should have to play a conference championship game to get into the playoffs. That's not fair for someone to have as many losses as you have. They play a conference title game, they lose, and you just sitting back looking pretty.
Sure.
Like, I'm just, okay.
Speaking of Notre Dame, you're saying?
Yes.
Okay, but they look pretty against Georgia. Well, 20-19.
Here's the thing, though, to defend Shannon, you know that at that point, after all is said and done, when you look at the teams that will be vying for that playoff spot, they will have played the fewest number of Power 5 opponents. It'll just be 9 for in course of the entire season. Even Alabama, who only has nine Power 5 teams on their schedule, would play a 10th in the conference championship game. So all of those teams will have 10 or 11 Power 5 opponents, and Notre Dame will only have 9. That's, I mean, to your point.
And so, but it's Georgia at Auburn, Notre Dame's at Miami, Alabama's at Mississippi State, and TCU's at Oklahoma. Guess what? There's a very, very good chance that you're going to have a different college, a Final Four, top 6 next week than what we saw this week.
Are you predicting that?
Yes. Here's the thing. This is what I want to see happen. I hope Alabama and Georgia arrive in Atlanta both undefeated because it doesn't matter what happened. Both of those teams will make the college playoff.
Okay.
There's a great chance of that. I will say that this committee, you see that too often we just look at the top 4, right? And it's kind of like the cookie at the end of the day, and it's like it's a delicious cookie, right? Everyone wants to eat the cookie, and then we don't understand that what really made the cookie were the ingredients, okay? And what this committee does is that they manipulate the ingredients to get the 4 that they want, to get the 4, 5, 6 that they want. Here's what's happened. Auburn, all of a sudden, for no really good reason, is the best two-loss team in America. That's hogwash. Michigan State, clearly the best two-loss team. Ohio State's probably better than Auburn. Even USC probably better than Auburn. But Auburn all of a sudden props up who? The fourth-ranked team, Clemson. You've also got LSU sitting in the top 25 with 3 losses, one of them at home to Troy. Troy, of all people. Guess who's not ranked? Michigan, with only 2 losses to Penn State and Michigan State. Like, how does that work? Well, it works because we only focus on the top 4, 5, or 6, and we don't look at what's going on down below, where this committee is propping up a really bad SEC. Mississippi State's ranked way too high. LSU's ranked way too high. Auburn's ranked way too high. Why? In order to prop those teams up where they want them in the top 4 or 5.
Is it possible that the Big Ten could have no team in the college playoff?
Yeah, certainly possible. In particular, if Michigan State runs the table and gets to that conference championship game and then beats a team like Wisconsin, now all of a sudden your champ is a 2-loss Michigan State. I don't think they're going to have the bullets to get into that playoff.
Okay, what if Wisconsin, unbeaten as we speak, they have 2 home games left against Iowa, and I'm shocked they're a 12.5-point favorite over in Iowa that just cleaned out Ohio State last weekend. So what if they beat Iowa at home? What if they beat Michigan at home? And then I assume they would deal with Ohio State in the conference championship.
We'll see, right? It could even be Michigan still. You know, could be Michigan, could be Michigan State, could be Ohio State.
Okay, but what if they run their table? I think they're in.
I would think that they were in, right? I mean, they've got Northwestern that's gotten hot. They've won 3 overtime games in a row. They're 6-3 and ranked. Iowa is now ranked. All of a sudden, you're getting some momentum for a schedule that everyone said was terrible with no ranked opponents on it. And all of a sudden, you're starting to see those ranked opponents late in the season. Right. They're going to have Michigan next week. They would have a conference championship game. I'm a big believer that we have to reward kids for what they do on the field and not reward coaches for what they do on signing day. That's why I've always had a huge problem with the 4 best terminology versus the 4 most deserving terminology. If you went undefeated in the Big Ten Conference and won the conference championship game with multiple wins against ranked opponents, you should absolutely be included in the top 4 in the country.
Oh, yeah. Oh, so you're saying Wisconsin?
Yes, absolutely.
Well, Joel, I love you. Boomer Sooner. You got this.
An exciting
I'll tell you,
weekend.
man, this one's going to be good. TCU, by the way, has got one of the best defenses in the country. So if you want to see Baker Mayfield tested this Saturday, it's going to be on fire.
Be sure to check out Joel and Gus Johnson. We'll discuss that next.
No.